We here right now with Krondon, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I remember walking down the street over in the Whiskey. I'm not going to tell you when this happened, but I will say this was, you know what I'm saying, when I knew who he was. I'm walking, and I was like, yo, is that Krondon? And I'm like, yeah. And you know what I'm saying? He was hella cool and still hella cool. I just ran into him outside. I'm like, man, I'm looking for your boy playing at Asia. He's like, oh, he'll be here later. You know what I'm saying? He's always just a cool, you know what I'm saying, humble guy, man. You know what I'm saying? What keeps you that way, man? Just keeps you chilling.
Jesus Christ. I have to give all the credit to Jesus Christ, man. Like, if it wasn't for Jesus Christ, man, I'd be burnt like all these other niggas, man. And I gotta say it just like that, brother. I'm glad you asked me that, because I get an opportunity to give credit where it's due. And that's where, if it wasn't for Jesus Christ, bro, I wouldn't be none of this, brother. What I am, and none of us would be. But that's not for me to tell him. And I thank you, man, for acknowledging that, brother, because I try to, no matter what we do or how far, this music takes us, it's still a gift, man, from God, and it can be taken away in a second, man. So.
Well, let me just ask you a couple quick questions. Basically, in your own words, what's your story? How did you fall in love with music? How did you fall in love with MCing? Like, did you grow up around a lot of music, or?
Yeah, grew up. I mean, with different types. I grew up in the '80s, man, and
originally from LA?
Born and raised. The crack era, and gang banging and all that shit was real prevalent here, and that really wasn't my cup of tea. It's really just a genuine love, man. So my point was that, and I came from the genuine streets, though, where my mother and father were in the streets, So, like, I spent a lot of time alone, young age, And music was my friend, became my friend, man. Public Enemy, man, KRS-One, all that shit, even like other music, like Metallica and all that. That's why I have a love for different types of music. Spent a lot of time, in music, that's the universal language, all things. So throughout my life, it just became, it's just the centerpiece of my existence, man, and everything, man. It really is. So I didn't always think I was gonna rap, though. I started doing production and DJing and fucking around, and then it just kind of developed and morphed into that, to me just, being a writer, really,
Who would you say your influences are, the MCs, like, if they really want to, get an understanding of the people that influence you, who should they check out? Regardless of any genre, any style, whatever.
Michael Jackson and Prince.
Yeah?
Yeah. Like, first, like, that's what, because I think every kid, whether you know it or not, when you was growing up, especially in my era, wanted to be like them at some point. You wanted, and you didn't know what it was about them you wanted to even be like. It was just, you wanted to be like them, you know what I mean? You wanted to attract that type of attention, so I give it to them first. And KRS-One, that's why I brought the bees back and all that type of shit, back on my Boogie Down production shit. KRS-One, man, because they was the first, that's what Strong or Steady is. They showed you the duality, criminal minded, right? By any means necessary. We're very, very intellectual, artistic music, but he's on there with a gun.
Yep.
And he's showing you the street images, and he's, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I really dug that shit, man. Public Enemy, X-Clan, NWA, coming from the West Coast, they're like the pinnacle to me. And Ice Cube,
Word.
For rap shit. But then it goes beyond, Metallica, musically. Like, they gave me a lot of influence. I'm very, very much so influenced by them because of their longevity and how they've been able to, with one brand, not a lot of rappers on here. You think about it, like Cypress Hill, maybe Snoop Dogg, you say, but took one brand and it morphed throughout, transcended time. And Metallica, man, their music is not only dope, but in their images, but they transcended so long, man.
You think you'd ever do a rock album?
Yeah, for sure. I just did a song with my man, with Skinhead Rob. You know about Skinhead Rob and Travis Barker and Tim Armstrong from Rancid. They have a group called The Transplants.
Okay.
And I just did a song for the album, and I dibble and dabble in rock all the time, all genres. I'm expanding into all genres.
Okay, cool.